Thanks, Kristen. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, council, staff, and our delegates this morning. I'm going to call the meeting to order at 8:30 with the land acknowledgement. We're meeting today on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Huron-Wendat, Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee peoples. We acknowledge our shared obligation to respect, honor, and sustain these lands and the natural resources contained within. We honor their cultures and celebrate their commitment to this land. We would also like to acknowledge the Mohawk and Algonquin nations, whose traditional and unceded territory we are gathered upon today. Hastings County is situated on treaty land that is steeped in rich Indigenous history and home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. First, I need a motion that the agenda for the special regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Marmorant Lake for Tuesday, July 29th, 2025 be approved as presented. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Eric, and second. Ron, any discussion on this agenda? All in favor? That's carried. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest? Being none, I would like to welcome our delegates. I'd like to just remind you that the delegations are 15 minutes, and then council will have an opportunity to ask questions. And so I'd like to first of all call Matthew for Whitley Newman Insurance. Welcome, Matthew.
I just got to put on my reader so I can see. Good morning, Honorable Mayor O'Neill, members of council, and staff members of the municipality. As both a citizen and member of the Marmorant Lake community, I wanted to thank you all for this opportunity to speak to you this morning. I appreciate your time at the start of this busy day. As you said, my name is Matthew Plopman. I'm account executive on the municipal file with Whitley Newman Insurance, representing the insurance proposal from Marsh Insurance, one that is not only competitive and comprehensive, but also built with the best interests of our municipality and its people in mind. We've proudly served as the incumbent broker of the municipality of Marmorant Lake for over 15 years. I personally have been the account executive since 2019, and working alongside me throughout this time is Tara Cochran, your dedicated account manager. Hi, Nancy. Together, Tara and I bring over 35 years of combined experience handling municipal insurance accounts, ensuring our clients receive knowledgeable, responsive, and consistent service tailored specifically to the evolving needs of a municipality like ours. I'd like to take a moment to commend the municipality for undertaking a comprehensive review of its insurance program, including seeking an alternative quote. This type of due diligence is responsible and an important part of the public sector governance, and it reflects council's commitment to the transparency, fiscal responsibility, ensuring the best value for the community. It is clear the municipality takes stewardship role very seriously, and I respect and support this process. One of the most important things I'd like to address today is the difference between Marsh's original premium quote and the revised premium quote. It was a reduction of approximately $95,000, very substantial. This significant adjustment did not come lightly. In response to the competing proposal, we went back to Marsh and worked directly with their president through Andrea, our liaison at Marsh, examining every possible avenue to secure a more competitive quote for the municipality. We didn't stop there. We escalated the matter further by engaging through Andrea, Marsh's Lloyd's of London contact located in the United Kingdom, who provided additional oversight and approvals. Through this effort, we were able to identify strategic pricing adjustments that allowed us to significantly reduce the premium without cutting or compromising any of the coverages the municipality relies on. This demonstrates the strength of our brokerage relationship with Marsh Insurance and our commitment to advocate on behalf of the municipality of Marmora and Lake to ensure you continue receiving the best value and protection for the municipality's insurance investment. Each year, we submit the municipality's insurance program to all qualified municipal insurers available to us in the province. As of today, there are only 3 insurance companies actively offering full municipal insurance packages in Ontario. They are Marsh, BFL, and Intact. And every year throughout our tenure as your broker, the municipality has consistently received the most comprehensive insurance coverage at the most competitive premiums available in the market. Both Marsh and BFL have been insuring municipalities for over 100 years with longstanding expertise and dedicated teams focused specifically on the public sector. They are well-established, experienced, and deeply familiar with the complexities of evolving risks that municipalities face. Intact, by contrast, entered the municipal insurance market much more recently in 2021, just 4 years ago, after acquiring Frank Cowan Insurance. In 3 of those 4 years, we looked into having Intact quote on the municipalities program. However, their coverage options at the time and premiums were not competitive and did not align with the municipality needs in either scope or value. For this 2025 renewal, we were blocked by approaching the Intact market due to market reservation, meaning another broker had already approached them first and was granted exclusive access to their quote. It's also important to note that Intact Insurance has been aggressively undercutting municipal insurance markets this year. With their proposals may seem initially attractive, they do offer many of the same standard municipal coverages. Our firsthand experience shows a very different long-term story. I've been representing Intact commercial policies myself for over 15 years, and in that time, I've seen year-over-year premium increases ranging anywhere from 15 to 30% and more on some of my accounts. This kind of pricing volatility creates serious budgeting and planning challenges for the clients. What may seem cost-effective in the short term can become unsustainable just a year or two later. Further to that point, I'd like to draw your attention to page 10 in the Intact policy, which is page 30 of 76 in your full agenda package. You will see where Intact states the following, and I quote, "To stay in line with our values, we cannot provide a guarantee, but we can provide honest and open guidance. We do think that it is appropriate and helpful for our clients in their budget setting process. Having reviewed our overall portfolio, as well as your individual risk profile, all things remaining the same, we can say that it would be unusual for your premiums to increase beyond 5% at next year's renewal. That's not a guarantee, but it's a thoughtful and informed." So again, they can't guarantee an increase beyond 5%, but only at next year's renewal. There's no further commitment beyond next year. This is an advisory statement only. There's no contractual guarantee or commitment by Intact in that statement. By contrast, through Marsh Insurance, this is what we have been able to provide the municipality: a contractual premium guarantee built into policy documentation that the municipality will receive. From Marsh Insurance, a 0% premium increase for the 2026 to 2027 policy period. That means no increase in the premium, guaranteed. This will all be in writing. A 5% reduction in rates for the 2027-2028 policy period. And following that, the next year, the third year commitment, another 5% premium reduction for 2028-2029. So again, we're no increase to premiums next year, 5% reduction the year after, a 5% reduction to the year after, all through Marsh Insurance. This is going to be guaranteed and in policy wording and writings. They're not estimates or assumptions. They're going to be firm and documented guarantees, as I had said. While reviewing the proposal, you may note that Intact lists a primary liability of $15 million, whereas Marsh lists $5 million. It's important to clarify that despite that difference in how these primary limits are presented, the combined limits on both policies, Intact and Marsh's, which I represent, are both $50 million. So there is no difference, although it appears to be initially. We have two umbrellas for $45 million that will respond in any event. So your liability limit is exactly the same on both policies throughout. Marsh Insurance brings unmatched experience in the municipal sector and has represented numerous municipalities for many years, including Havelock, Belmont Methuen, Asphodel Norwood, Aldenwick Haldman, Douro Dummer, Brighton, Sterling Rawdon, and Northumberland County, among others. This extensive portfolio underscores Marsh's deepest understanding to the unique challenges municipalities of this similar size face and in the same geographic location. And it's a long-standing commitment delivered to tailored, effective insurance solutions. Marsh Canada Limited is a Canadian entity. Marsh is owned by a large corporation. However, they are a separate entity in Canada, meaning their president, CEO, and employees are all Canadian. We'd also like to highlight the exceptional claims experience the municipality has had under our stewardship with Marsh Insurance. Over the years, claims have been handled with a high degree of professionalism, urgency, and expertise, resulting in above average settlements and prompt, effective resolutions. The speed and quality of response from Marsh's dedicated municipal claims team has consistently exceeded expectations, providing the municipality with the assurance that when an incident occurs, it will be managed swiftly, fairly, and with a deep understanding of the municipal operation. By contrast, we cannot confidently gauge the same level of claims responsiveness of a settlement outcomes with Intact Insurance, as there is no comparable history or established track record between Intact and this municipality. The claims process is one of the most critical aspects of any insurance relationship, and it is in the area where Marsh and our brokerage have proven reliability and value time and again. In addition to competitive pricing and broad coverage, Marsh consistently delivers added value through a full suite of no-cost services, including risk assessment and evaluation, comprehensive risk management guidance, educational seminars and workshops. These are all available to everybody here at any time, free of charge. On-site building evaluation and asset reviews at any time. As recently as last fall, we facilitated a meeting between the municipality. I think most of everybody was here. When we brought Darren Thomas here, Vice President and National Risk Manager Advisor for Marsh's public sector. During that session, Mr. Thomas presented a range of risk management strategies and solutions specifically designed for municipal clients, demonstrating our proactive approach and commitment to risk prevention, not just claims response. So sorry about that. These ongoing resources are available to the municipality at any time at no additional cost, reinforcing our role not only as an insurance provider, but as a trusted partner in the responsible stewardship of this public risk. In short, we pursued every available option, conducted a full and fair market review, and presented the most stable, competitive, and slightly lower coverage appropriate option available to the municipality of Marmora Lake. In closing, I wish to emphasize that Whitley Newman Insurance is the only broker office located within the municipality of Marmora Lake, has maintained a continuous presence in the town of Marmora for over 55 years. Our firm is proud to represent a significant number of municipality constituents and businesses within the township. These long-standing relationships are a testament to our deep roots in the community and our unwavering commitment to local service. This proximity affords unique understanding of the municipality's specific exposures, operational challenges, and evolving insurance needs. Nancy knows she sees us quite a bit during the period of a year. We're always knocking on the door. Combined with extensive resources and specialized expertise of Marsh, we are uniquely positioned to deliver comprehensive, responsive, and customized insurance solutions that reflect both local realities and the industry best practices. Furthermore, we believe the constituents of Marmora Lake can take confidence in knowing their local economy continues to benefit from our presence and investment. Our former office at 31 Forsyth Street served the community in the same location for 55 years, undergoing multiple renovations and improvements over that time. Following our recent relocation to 1 McGill Street, we once again, just in June, reinvested significantly in the community, completing over $155,000 worth of upgrades to that building, all which were completed by local contractors and business professionals. This reinvestment not only reflects our long-term commitment to the town, but also our dedication to supporting the local economy and strengthening the foundation of which our relationship with the municipality has been built. We are also proud to say that our broker office remains based in Marmora, and it's staffed by full-time by 3 insurance professionals, each with many years of experience in municipal, commercial, and personal insurance. Also, we're proud to say all 3 team members are proud citizens of Marmora, deeply invested in serving their community with expertise and care. Thank you, Mayor O'Neill and members of council for your time today and your thoughtful consideration this morning. It's been my privilege, and it has been, because I'm a proud member of Marmora. At the end of the day, it has been my privilege to present this proposal on behalf of Whitley Newman and Marsh Insurance. And if there are any questions, I'd be happy to take them now.
Thank you, Matthew. Very good presentation.
Thank you.
I'm going to open it up to council for questions, or to Nancy as well. So anyone have any comments or questions for Matthew? Eric, go ahead.
Thank you for coming here and presenting today. I have to address, so we have a job as council to do our due diligence with providers. I have to address the elephant in the room. Why did it take a competitive quote from an alternative provider for you to go to bat for us to get a lower overall cost?
Thank you for the question. We do every single year that we've represented the municipality. This year, we were offered two quotes, one from BFL and one from Marsh Insurance. The lower, the better coverage, the lower premium was offered by Marsh Insurance. Every year we go to bat. Every year we submit to our markets that will insure municipalities, and we bring our best to the municipality. That's what we had to offer this year. Intact market was blocked. We had no way of knowing that it was unavailable at the time until we approached them to offer us a quote, an estimate on that. We're not willing to cut coverages. It's absolutely asinine in this day and age to cut liability coverages or whatnot. There are a few small discrepancies in the Intact policy and ours too, but they're not detrimental to the municipality. So we offered what we had was the best. And at that time, it was $95,000 more than what Intact was going to bring to the table. We don't know what the market, it's like going to buy a car, I guess. You don't know what the market's going to bring until you get there. You don't know what that model and what that make is going to be worth the day you go on the lot. But if you go check another lot, you might find it cheaper, and you might be able to go back and get the better cost. That's what we did. When we found out there was a lower offer, we went back to bat for the municipality of Marmorant Lake.
Thank you.
You talk about that though, and we look at increases 2021, 19.5%, 2022, 15.8%, 2023, 14.3%, 2024, 11.7%. We have to pass these costs on to residents. They're the ones that pay. And being local, I appreciate that and the investments that you've made here, but that should also give you an understanding into the hard situation that municipalities are in and what our costs are. We have to pass on these costs to our residents. We call these unavoidable costs. The residents and taxpayers get burdened with these significant increases. At times, this can be 1% of their increase in taxes is going just to cover our 1% increase in insurance. And when you are talking about Intact and any guaranteed increase going forward, your increases have been double digits for the past 5 years.
So in response to that, and thanks again for bringing that up, in response to that, those increases are dictated by the global market, the global insurance market. I do have, if it interests you and if it's okay for me to offer, I have the Canada Global Placement Market Update, Q1 2025, but this reflects the last 4 to 5 years, I believe, of global market insurance rate increases through different sectors. Some of them are commercial, some of them are municipal, and some of them are personal. I have copies available. They are paper copies, and it wasn't included in the initial agenda. So if anybody would like that, I have that. So back to your original point, though. We don't set those increases. I don't set them. I pay them when I pay my taxes and when I pay my insurance. But those increases are set globally. And so again, when we go to the markets for the municipality to get the best premium we can get, if all the global markets have dictated a 19 to 25% increase or 4% or a loss, or a decrease, in that case, we get those quotes again and we bring them to you. Do we like a 19% increase? I don't think anybody does. And again, you have to present that to us and yourself as a taxpayer, right? But that's still the best we had because all the other markets were reflective. Some were higher than 19%.
So then can you explain how you're guaranteeing no increase for 2026, 27?
And beyond, 28 and 29. That is from Marsh Insurance. They have guaranteed those fixed rates and decreases in increase or premiums over the period of the year. Now, even in tax fine writing, you'll see there are still lots of things that dictate that. Something like a global pandemic, which you see is why the increase is. So in the fine print, you're 100% correct. They can guarantee that they, as a company, will not increase your premiums. They can guarantee that they will bring them down. But if we suffer a global pandemic again, or if there have been a lot of catastrophic losses in Canada, it's been horrible, and worldwide. So yes, those can have a fluctuation in our rates. This is Marsh Canada's commitment to the municipality through us as your broker.
And just to clarify on those, I guess, locked in static pricing, how does potential claims affect that?
And again, that's another great question. A claim, the policy for the municipality is complex. There's many layers to it. Excuse me. It would truly depend on where that claim falls within the layers of the onion of your policy and how that would reflect on the premium itself. So for example, a small property claim, like a truck that got stolen and wound up somewhere. I can't remember the whole details of that one, but anyway, very minor reflection in premium increase. And I'm talking 0.5% or less, like it's extremely small. If the municipality is getting sued and God forbid, for something absurd, 25 million, it's a direct into the liability, into the property damage, bodily injury portions, then you can see a larger increase, but still it may be that increase may work out to less than 5%. It could be 7%, but it could also be 2%. So again, claims do have a direct effect on the premiums, but it could be as little as 0.03% increase.
My last question, are you looking for any specific term commitment on this offer?
Only for this year's renewal, but with this year's renewal comes those guarantees of further years. So yes, we do. This is the commitment we're asking for. That's why I'm here today.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Jane?
First of all, I want to say, being a person in business and having to do my own insurance renewals every year, Councillor Dow, I thank you for your questions. They were bang on. Very good questions. Just one question on the part of the guaranteeing of the annual premiums. Is the amount of the deductible compromised at all by your guarantees? Do our deductibles go up?
No.
Okay.
No, they do not. They'll remain as they are every policy period unless you request them to be different.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Anyone else have any further questions, Ron?
Yeah, Eric's questions pretty well took all mine, except for the one that I'm wondering about is the 5% reduction really isn't 5%. If we have a claim, that's gone. Correct?
Well, again, the Marsh's offer on their base premium is going to see that 5% reduction in the following terms renewal. Anytime there is a claim, that there's a small portion of that policy that you're right, it will be reflected. So Marsh's is going to say our base premium has been reduced by 5%, but because there's a claim, again, it's just like your auto insurance. If you have a claim, your premium doesn't change. You lose a claims-free discount. Essentially, that's what Marcia said. We're going to lower the premium by 5%.
Right.
However, if there is a claim, there will be a reflection in there. So the actual 5% in the big picture might be with a claim, it might be 2% or whatnot. But they would show you on paper where the rest of the policy responded with a 5% reduction in premium rate.
So could we count on these without the 5% reduction, could we count on these rates staying the same years to come, like, without having a big increase next year, like?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if I understand your question correctly, yes, like if all remains the same, and again, I know claims are of concern. This is a municipality, it's large, there's people visiting, there's slip and falls, there, you name it, and we've been through them. The odds of a claim drastically impacting the overall premiums that are base solid premiums offered through Marsh are going to be minimal. They're going to be dispersed within that policy to the direct line that would cover it. So, and again, I use the auto as an example. If it's a comprehensive claim, it's something that the municipality has done their due diligence to prevent. Marsh Insurance is going to look at that, and through their underwriters and whatnot, they're going to say this claim could fall under a certain particular level of this big policy, and reflect only in that. Then you'll see the rest of the rates all reflected in a 5% reduction in rate at that point. So,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you.
Anything further? Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I've got sort of two questions. First question, though, is related to what Eric asked, and you gave us some information on. But the reason why the claims across the world did go up, and the reason why going forward you could increase our policy cost, is the pandemic and major forest fires and weather events. Those are what drove the claims so high and why everybody raised their premiums so high to cover all those costs. But from listening to you, those are exceptions, and those would be the same things that would raise our rate, even though there is a 0% guarantee. So am I getting that right, or am I wrong on that part? If the worldwide rate goes up, we're going to go up anyways, because that's uncontrollable by Marsh. And the second part is, who is our, you said there's 3 people in Marmora that handle claims and representatives. Where's our representative for the municipal insurance policy? Is it in Marmora, or is it down in Belleville, Trenton? I have no idea where else it could be.
Okay, thank you for the question. I'll address your last question first. I myself, as the account executive, in the event of a claim, would contact Marsh's claim adjuster, and they would be sent out from wherever and I would assume it'd be Toronto, but your first line, the municipality's first line of defense, the first people that are going to respond to you, that have always responded, is myself. And again, I live in Marmora. Tara Cochran, the account manager for Whitley Newman and the municipality. She's also a resident of Marmora. And she is the account manager she's the direct liaison between Marsh Insurance claims adjuster, the municipality, Tara Cochran. So we're right here. We're right here when there is a claim, and again, our claims experience with the municipality has been second to none. We've had absolutely perfect performance with any claims through the municipality. So your first line of defense is just around the corner as far as that goes. Your first question, the global insurance market absolutely does dictate our rates. I mean, across the board, it does. However, Marsh's commitment, Marsh, because we value the municipality's insurance program so much, as a broker who's local, as citizens of this community, we went to Marsh and we said, we need more. We're willing to put this on the line. We've had 15 years of great relationship with the municipality, an office in town for 55 years. This means more to us than a premium at the end of the day. So we asked Marsh, we said, we want a commitment from you to show the municipality of Marmora and Lake that they mean the most to us out of any client that we could ever, like, everybody is important. But this is a big deal to us, especially a small town broker. So we asked them for more, and that was their commitment. Now, the rates are going to change. The rates are always going to fluctuate, but Marsh has come back and said, regardless of global fluctuation in rates and whatnot, their commitment is a -5% in the second year, 0% for the next year's renewal, -5 for the following two. That is their commitment to municipality of Marmora and Lake, and to maintain this relationship.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? I just wanted to ask a question. Going through the details in the information provided, you talk about risk assessment of buildings and so forth. So I don't think we've ever really used these services through the insurance. And I can see that probably is an option we should have maybe been using. But I just want to ask, if you were to do a risk assessment, say, of a building, and you were to identify that the building was in disrepair or whatever, would that be done by engineers, or who would be the professional that would be doing those risk assessments?
Thank you for the question, Mayor. Yeah, absolutely. If it's something that I couldn't do myself, as a broker, which I have been trained in risk assessment myself, of course, it's part of my job. If it's beyond my scope, a building of this size, and they need to know if that truss up there is engineered correctly to withstand storms or whatnot. In that point, Marsh would hire experts or have experts within their capacity to come out and do those sort of risk assessments to make sure they're structurally or engineered correctly or whatnot at that point. So if you have a small building, like the building next door, for example, I don't know if I'm pointing the right way or not.
Over here.
But I with all the likelihood of buildings I've inspected over my years, I could probably go in there and make some calculated risk assessments, and then pass them on to Marsh for further, if further review if required. And again, all of that, there'd be no cost to the municipality at all. This is what our responsibility and our response to the policy is.
So if you found that there was a risk, and it would take a period of time to correct it possibly, would that affect our rates?
No, not at all. No, you may see a suspension of coverage, say, for example, to a minor portion of that building. If, for example, it was a roof in poor repair, and they determined that it needed to be replaced, they may put a roof restriction on that particular building, only for like a 6-month term or whatever it takes to propose the work to be done. Once the work's completed, the restriction is lifted and coverage remains.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Anything further? Jane?
Nancy, you have, even though you prepared all the documents, from your conversations, you might have a little bit more of an intimate knowledge. Are there any questions that we haven't asked that you think we should ask?
I would maybe just ask about the legal. I noticed that in the policy, they offer some legal services. And one of our major expenses is obviously legal. So if we have the option to use that through insurance to save money, I mean, that would be something that I would ask about.
Go
Yeah,
on.
thanks. Can you respond?
I will respond to that.
Thanks,
Thank
Matthew.
you. Thanks, Nancy. So in our proposal, I have to go and look at it because I didn't memorize every single page that everything is on. Yeah, it's on page. It looks like 17 of 76, but let's just say it's 17 of 76, the Marsh Canada proposal. You'll see on that page, it says legal expense, optional purchase. And it goes through a bunch of sublimits there. The reason why that optional purchase is listed there is there's some smaller things that are not included in legal representation in the policy. These are the small things that are not included. However, that being said, this is a $4,000 bump in the legal expense coverage. Again, it's optional. But the inclusive portion of legal representation, the big portion of it is all included within the policy documents. So there are some smaller things here, employment disputes, but these things are covered in the primary policy. These are just bumping up those limits slightly. Again, there is absolutely nothing missing in terms of legal expense on the municipal base policy. So I'm just bringing that up as you know, yeah, I mean, again, some of these things here, legal document review, 12 per year, they'll review, but they'll do that anyway. So this is not to be, you know, don't be thinking you don't have the coverage, you do. It's just a enhancement that Marsh has provided. But most of these things are automatically included in the policy wording.
Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else? Ron?
Yeah, my question, Matt, is as our bridge structures deteriorate, does that affect our rate in terms of liability? Because we're covered for liability for structures.
Correct.
So as they deteriorate, as they do, does that affect our rate?
No, it will have no effect on your rate. Liability, I mean, in this world, we have to protect ourselves against everything, but we can't. There's no way that's possible. So a liability coming from a building that's deteriorating, unless there's no, it's not going to affect the rates, period. A claim is a claim is a claim. It'll affect the rate to that specific portion, again, of the policy. But it's not going to change because they say, again, if it's a claim, it's going to have some impact to that portion of the policy that responds. I guess that's the quick and simple
But the
answer.
deterioration of infrastructure.
It
any
really,
infrastructure.
at that point, the claim would still get settled. But what we have to do is our due diligence as a municipality, as a citizen, to maintain the infrastructure, whether it's our own home or a roadway or whatnot. Yeah, that's our due diligence. Again, it's like if I leave the keys in my car, when somebody comes up and steals it, guess what? I can still get my car replaced if I have the correct coverage on it. And it's no different. It's our responsibility to maintain the infrastructure, but at the same time, if somebody's going to sue you, they're going to sue you whether the bridge is falling down or they tripped on a pebble on the sidewalk.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Go ahead, Mike.
Just further to Jane's question on the legal, is there any part of this policy that has been reduced to get the premium down from our last policy? Or is this basically exactly the same? Like, did we lose any legal coverage with this new policy that we had before? When she asked that question, it just came to mind.
Thank you for the question, Councillor Mike. No, I can say there is none. There is absolutely. Oh, I'm sorry, you're Deputy Mayor Stevens. I apologize. I called you Councillor. Yeah, there is absolutely no changes, no reductions in coverages. There is no increases to deductibles. This policy is exactly the same, probably with a few benefits that I don't have in front of me. So I apologize for that, but I could get them. But no, the short answer is there is no reduction in coverages and no increases in deductibles.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just have one question. Does somebody have the exact figure of what this policy is going to, what the exact figures are now? I know it's in here, but I just would like to know I guess for the public's benefit, what the rate is.
I believe it's 211,845.
845. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Matthew, but I'd like to ask you to stick around if you don't mind until our other delegates have presented, because if we have more questions for clarification or whatever before we pass a recommendation. So thank you again for answering all those questions and for a good presentation. Thank you. I would just recommend you give one maybe to the clerk and one to Nancy. I don't think the rest of us sort of need one at the moment. We can always get it from them if you don't mind. Thank you. So our next delegate is Ryan Darrell from McDougall Insurance. Please come forward. And welcome to Municipality of Marmora Lake, and please proceed. So you're Ryan and you are,
Yeah, so, yeah, thank you, everyone, Mayor. This is, Daryl Messiah, and I'm Ryan Gerald from McDougall Insurance.
thank you.
Daryl is from Intact Public Entities, and I'm from McDougall Insurance in Madoc.
Can I just ask you speak directly into the microphone because otherwise
red,
I
is
don't
that-
hear very well. No, it's on, turned on. Just put,
Okay.
yeah,
Sure.
just more directly.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Is that good? All right. All right. Again, thank you, everyone, Council, Mayor O'Neill. Thanks for the opportunity to speak with you today. Today, I'll be providing you with a brief overview of what my role as a broker is, Intact Public Entities as our MGA partner, as well as how we can provide value to the municipality. Summarize coverage, premiums, and offer a few recommendations. Then Daryl can provide some additional insight on IPE, their pricing approach, and their value-added services. First, I'd like to thank Nancy, who worked hard to get all the information we needed to get this quote out to you very quickly. We, as the broker, are the primary point of contact for any changes, questions, advice throughout the year. We work closely with your staff on renewal to ensure that your renewal arrives accurate and on time. We provide an annual insurance presentation to council, offering guidance and recommendations. We also complete building evaluations. Nancy provided a list of all your buildings, which is a significant portion of your premium. And we quoted based on that. So Matthew mentioned about the evaluations. Each building is insured for different limits. I'm not sure how these limits were, advised, whether it's from inspections or evaluations. However, that is a role. Something that I would do is provide evaluations on each building, along with Intact, who also provides their own inspections and evaluations, and they have professionals on staff. Also, we look at marketing your policy out to find the best available coverage. I just want to note that as far as approaching Intact, I did approach Nancy to quote on your policy, and Intact was approached after our proposal was already provided by your broker. As a large broker, we have market access and strong relationships with our insurer partners across Ontario. We specialize in municipal insurance and insure several surrounding municipalities. Intact Public Entities is formerly Frank Cowan. They have been around since 1927, and their package is tailored specifically to municipal risks. And they offer industry-leading risk management and mitigation, which Daryl can explain in further detail. Each company structures their package a bit differently. Matthew mentioned that. It's difficult to get them exactly the same. However, I did my best to try to compare apples to apples. It resulted in some back and forth with Nancy, which provided a few different pricing structures, which ultimately came out in favor of the municipality. So first of all, I'll just review the coverages briefly. I won't get into too much detail just due to time constraints. However, Matthew already mentioned that the liability itself is set up a little bit differently. 15 million on Intact for the underlying policy, with 2 additional umbrellas, with the total being 50 million. This is your general liability. Think of your slip and fall, bodily injury, property damage, medical payments, playground injuries. We also, under that limit, is your errors and omissions coverage, which is for professional negligence and failure to perform, resulting in financial loss. Inspectors, zoning, counselors, etc. Environmental liability at a $5 million limit. It's covered third-party pollution claims, and think of your wastewater, your dump storage tanks, and these do not need to be listed to have coverage available under the Intact policy. Your employer's liability, wrongful dismissal, volunteer accidents, counselors coverage, all separate line items in the policy. However, I won't get into too much detail on those. Abuse liability also included at a $2 million limit. This is comparable to what you currently have under your policy with Marsh. I mentioned previously there the buildings and equipment. This is also the list that Nancy provided. It's based on all risk coverage and includes earthquake, flood, sewer backup, equipment breakdown. This is your electrical systems, boiler, heating, and AC. Your auto policy is also from the list provided. These vehicles and drivers are added, deleted throughout the year, and we keep that list on file and provide to the insurance company annually. Cyber insurance, we poured a $1 million limit, comparable to what you currently have. Also, crime coverage is included, which would, cover your employee dishonesty and various other coverages. There's some discussion there on the legal expense. This is one of the coverages which we did include in our package. It was offered on renewal, as previously mentioned there, for $4,800 currently on your policy. Intact provided their maximum limit of $250,000 for $1,500. So that is included in our policy. However, any of these coverages can be deleted if you wish. And you mentioned it was access to unlimited telephone legal advice, legal representation for human rights tribunals, employment, or other legal disputes. Something that may not be covered under the policy. You want to call to make a inquiry about a specific incident. It's available to you. Deductibles, both carriers are equal. Besides cyber, which ours is at $5,000 versus your $10,000 currently. Premium breakdown. There's a couple of corrections from the council report I wanted to highlight. In order to match coverage, we had to make a couple adjustments, resulted in some back and forth last minute between myself, Nancy, and Daryl. Unfortunately, it didn't arrive in time, including the final report, but Daryl was able to get final underwriting approval and final terms of $206,952, including cyber, which this also includes the legal expense I mentioned earlier. If you want to add that to your policy currently, it'd be additional $4,800. So ultimately, this is just under $100,000 cheaper than your original renewal provided by Marsh, and for $4,893 under the revised quote provided. $6,393 if we exclude legal expense. Intact also provided some additional savings options in the package. If you increase property deductibles up to $25,000, get an additional $7,864 savings. $50,000, $16,706 savings. My recommendations reviewing your policy, there's a couple of things that were not quoted. One of them being the user facility. I think you looked at that option maybe last year. And what that is for anyone renting any facilities. There's a couple, you can provide coverage to anyone renting and charge based on the time and what the activity is. Daryl buys approximate premium around $2,000 a year. We can look at that option. Bridges, you brought it up recently or with a question there. You're not currently insuring any bridges. However, Intact provides a small limit, $50,000 in the package. We can quote bridges as well. We just need additional information in the application. Firefighter coverage, this was also not included in our quote, but we can look at that for additional savings as well as the municipality. Cyber, we also quoted an additional limit up to $2 million, which would be recommended limit for that coverage. It'd be an additional $5,000. Also want to mention we're full service brokerage. We offer group benefits as well, and other options available to council and staff. In summary, I'm confident in the package and pricing that we've offered. There's some discussion there as far as the insurance market and where it's trending. The market is softening, meaning rates are leveling or going down. Although price is important, we're offering a long-term partnership with us and IPE that will help benefit the municipality, employees, counselors, and the community. I'll pass it over to Daryl to advise on Intact's approach, as well as any information he feels relevant.
Thanks, Ryan. There, I think that's better. Well, morning, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council, members of staff. It's lovely to be out here and in smaller communities meeting everybody. My name is Daryl Messiah. I'm Intact Public Entities, the regional manager for Eastern Ontario. So I'm based out of Kingston, actually. So we like to work with local brokers or brokers that are close by, strong broker partners. And it's my job to really know the region I serve. So it's good that I come out here. Whether you go with Intact Public Entities or you remain with Marsh, that's 100% okay. It's just good to know the faces and people I see out here, as it's my job to know the area that we insure because we are deeply embedded. And to speak to that, we were acquired by Intact a few years ago, except Frank Cowan, which I wasn't, I worked with as well, started in 1927, and we were the first municipal public insurer in Canada. We're Canadian owned, Canadian operated. Intact is Canadian owned. And of course, I'm out of Kingston, not Toronto, so I actually know where all these little municipalities are. I don't know if anyone in Marsh knows where this community is. Now, little things, we approach things different. We are a complete insurance package. We believe in preventative risk insurance. We have risk inspectors, engineers, paralegals. We will review contracts. All of these things are at no cost. We believe that it's about the total cost of insurance. Now, I did hear, it seems inspections are something that seem to be important to this community. We do those inspections for free. I believe each building inspection can vary from $3,000 to $4,000 per location. We inspect, oh gosh, I don't even know, upwards of 55 million plus every few months. And those are completely free value-added services. If you do stay with your current incumbent Marsh, I would highly recommend you do get those inspections done to be aware of your assets, to be ensured that you're properly insuring. I do not know what Marsh charges for those. I'm sure your incumbent broker can have that discussion with you. I've never heard of them being done free, but that may be something Marsh has changed. Ironically, I actually worked for Marsh about 7 years ago, and they were quite expensive, but maybe things have changed since I've been there. It's been a bit. To further speak to that, we also try to provide really good service. So you guys are really down to the wire with that extension. What a fun time. It's been great. We don't really, we provide a renewal 45 to 60 days out. The price is what it is. We're transparent. I will give you ample notice through your broker what market conditions look like, how are things shaping up, and we believe in a long-term approach and a long-term commitment. Part of that is we look at municipalities from an individual manner. As I said, one of the things about me knowing you guys is so I can speak with my team, speak with claims, speak with underwriting, speak with risk management and say, they're looking at putting in maybe water mitigation work, and that will pay off in 10 years. Knowing who you guys and what you're about allows us to make sure that we insure the risk. And that's why the premium we gave you, we felt was to the risk. We don't undercut, we don't price low, we don't price high. We price according to the risk that we see. Now, that being said, rate stability guarantees are great. That's great that Marsh is offering that. We do not do that. We think that is unfair business practice. We believe that there's too many things that may come. We had a windstorm that came through just 2 years ago that caused $40 million worth of damage. Would that affect your rate stability guarantee? I do not know. I do not know the legalities of that rate stability guarantee, but we just believe in being transparent. Lots of time, if for some reason you want to shop the market at that point, then that is what you feel is best for your municipality. But we will make sure we give you as much notice as possible what rates are looking like, as much notice as possible for your renewal proposal. And hopefully, if you have a strong broker out there, this great gentleman to my right or the incumbent broker, they will review the coverages and give you an educated decision as to what's the best way to approach that. Now, we did say unusual increase beyond premium beyond 5%. And that's fair because, we are going to look at including inflation, things of that nature. I do not know what next year will bring. We may renew flat. We don't know. So I wanted to give you guys as conservative an estimate. I'm thinking probably about right now, we're seeing about 3%, but it could be flat, but we believe it will be under 5%. And that's what we were trying to say for budgeting purposes. Now, the last thing I want to stress, because when you think of total cost of insurance, is as Intact Public Entities, we have in-house claims personnel. No other carrier in the market right now is an MGA that we are. That means we have long-term partners who know municipal insurance, who understand what municipalities are. It's not like your auto, your home. Things change. Your claims can take 20 years to settle, and they can be very long tail in nature. We have dedicated claims and municipal insurance claims personnel that are all in-house. That means they are Intact Public Entities claims personnel. Our risk inspectors are Intact Public Entities risk inspectors. Our engineers first, then insurance people, but Intact Public Entities engineers and so forth. So we offer all those things, and that may save you indirectly money. When it comes to settling a claim, having a specialist, that's all they do is settle these types of claims, means typically lower payouts, or at least handle in an expedited manner. That's not a guarantee because you never know. It's hard to really look at, well, what would happen if we had an amateur lawyer handle this? Who knows? But the idea is that we're keeping the total cost of insurance down while giving you guys a full insurance package that includes risk analysts, contract reviews. We just talked about legal. We include that legal product. And our program's always a little different. All municipal insurance are giving great coverage. Marsh is no different. We technically, I would say we kind of set the bar for coverage, and all the other insurers chase after us. And because of that, we're not always the cheapest as well. And things like tribunals on the legal coverage, we don't exclude that. So it's always good to look at little things, because I do know smaller municipalities, sometimes when it comes to legal disputes, may not go before the court and may be settled in a tribunal or things of that nature. So look out for those little exclusions that we may not have, but other insurance companies have. The last thing I did want to talk about, because I come from the risk management department, so I'm super biased, is we do have our Center of Excellence. It's completely free. So even if you do not go with Intact Public Entities, please check out that website. There's everything from, certificates, special events, risk management mitigation, all those things are on there, and it helps municipalities because they understand you guys are wearing a lot of hats and you're so much on your plate. So anything we can do to help you guys, it's always good for the insurance market in general. I also just wanted to talk about the insurance market briefly, because as the incumbent broker said, that's right. Rates were pretty aggressive for quite some time. We are in a softening market. And that wasn't just Marsh, that was Intact Public Entities. I sat before many council members and had difficult conversations. And we're always going to be here to have those conversations and be transparent and discuss what that looks like and work with you. And that's what I think a lot of my clients really appreciate, is that we're here to work with you and be your long-term partner. Unfortunately, we were not approached by your incumbent broker until after I was approached by Ryan, and he's a great, strong broker, and we have worked together for quite some time now. And also, we never received a quote request at any time, I believe, and I've been here for, going on 3 years now for this region. So it's always good to do these exercises. Look how much money you guys are going to save, whether you go with us or not. That's great that Marsh responded. And typically, sometimes Marsh does not release terms until the last second to see what we're up to. So it looks like they pulled one of those. So that's okay. And if you guys have any questions, please, we're happy to answer any of them.
Thank you very much. Just to clarify, not sure I heard you correctly. What is your rate, the annual?
Yes. So the final premium is $206,952.
Okay, thank you.
So just to clarify, sorry if I may. So the revised quote we got before was 201, and then you're saying there was legal and cyber added on to that, Ryan? Is that
Just cyber,
okay? So that cyber is that
about
$5,000?
$5,000. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was added.
No, we actually it was actually a couple different, it was environmental liability, some different changes that we had to make just to match the Marsh. And then the final quote came in lower.
Okay.
So they did end up discounting it further.
Sorry, I'll speak to that, council member. It wasn't necessarily a discount. As you guys know, our programs are different. Marsh has different limits, things of that nature. So we had to look at backdating your abuse coverage so there wouldn't be any gaps in coverage. And so when we're adjusting the liability rating, We then had to take that premium somewhere else to give you guys a total package. And that's why it dropped slightly. So it wasn't really a deduction. We just kind of shuffled around the rate for you guys to make sure we were matching what you had prior. So that's sort of how we got to that random number, if you're curious.
Thank you. Any other questions? Ron?
Yeah, can you expand on, you mentioned quotes for bridges. What does that entail?
It would be insuring your bridges for physical damage. So same as a building, it'd be for an
Oh.
all risk policy. Yeah, like they're not insured right now. Liability, yes, you mentioned that earlier. If something were to happen, someone were injured, your liability is covered, but the actual physical damage, reconstruction costs, et cetera, for the bridge are not insured.
So what about failure?
Failure, it depends on the how it happened and what resulted in it. As far as
So
whether
like,
the claim.
again, I'll give you an example. A load limit is whatever it is, low, and a truck went across and it collapsed and they have no insurance or they haven't got enough insurance. Is that where you'd step in?
You'd have to be individually rated on a claim, but as far as if it was due to weight.
Or anything. It could
Yeah.
just be failure due to a flood or something like that.
Flood, yes.
But is that insurance quite expensive to have?
It's similar to building rates. So yes, it's expensive depending on how many bridges you have and the value of them. There could be certain ones you wish to insure and wish not to insure.
And you can delete some as well. You don't have to insure them all.
No.
Okay. So how do we get a quote for that?
So it's an application. The OSM reports as well with the bridges. We provide that to the company. They would review all of them to see about,
That would be a replacement cost is what, like
Yeah.
that would be replacement cost?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Councilor Ron, I guess my first question is, when I'm driving out here, is there a bridge that I should be avoiding? Because you seem very.
We got a few that are,
I'm a little worried now, but
like, we do our due diligence, we
Yeah.
do our OSIMs and everything like that. But time wears them out. Traffic wears them out
Yeah.
and we don't have a lot of money to rebuild them. So it's always in the back of my mind, if one fails, number one, are we covered for liability? And number two, if we could have insurance that would replace that structure, it may be a good investment.
So I guess my predecessor said the only thing we sell as an insurance is the promise to pay out at the time of something bad happening. That's all we really sell. That being said, bridges are not excluded from a liability. So if a bridge does collapse, that's the first thing you're probably going to be concerned about, is that the liability claims and the environmental claims that would come out from that.
Right.
You have typically water. Now, is that connected to a larger water source? Are we pulling in different municipalities? Is there provincial, federal conservation boards? All those things can be pulled in. So it's going to be a very complex claim right off the hop. The second thing, as you said, was property. So we do have what's called a supplemental extension coverage that Ryan discussed, about $50,000. That's the most inexpensive way to really kind of get some coverage on a property level for your bridge, but that's not a lot of money for a bridge. You can increase your supplement. That's pretty inexpensive, but it's not covering an individual bridge. It's just kind of all your bridges. Here's a blanket amount. You're going to probably max out around 500, maybe $1 million if we're lucky to get that. Maybe that will cover a little pedestrian bridge. Not a bad deal. So that could be something that you speak with Ryan and looking at. Other way to go about it is scheduling your bridges individually. So then you have the total coverage for each bridge. Most municipalities do not cover their bridges from a physical damage perspective. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
Also, if it is due to wear and tear, it's like anything. Your car just breaks down. You're not going to have coverage for that. Now, if it's something else, severe storm, any sort of peril, very different story. But wear and tear, we would be asking for the report, most likely from a municipal engineer who's evaluated the bridge. And we have engineers on site that can look at that report and give any recommendations. That's all part of IP's value-added services. So if there are bridges that are a concern, I would definitely recommend you get some sort of inspection report completed and submit that, and we'll be able to assist anyway. Or once again, maybe talk to we can look into that. Even if you're not insured with us, I know there are different municipal organizations that we work with that may be able to assist you. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, John.
So through you, Chair, to the delegations, not that we're concerned about any particular bridge. It's a good conversation to have. We have our asset management plan, which is going through all our facilities in terms of built and also any roads, culverts, bridges, that sort of thing. I think a concern is that as this infrastructure ages and as we seek to get more funding from other levels of government through different programs, it's always a concern of when that useful life is starting to approach and what if. Those kind of scenarios. So you're absolutely fine to drive in and out of Marmora Lake. But that said, I think it's a really good question for the counselor to ask in terms of understanding if there is, we get to a point of some sort of mitigation, but I do appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Any other comments or questions? Go ahead, Eric.
In your presentation here, there's a couple of pages on value added service. I'm looking specifically at page 25 of 76 in the presentation. Contract under reviews and analysis, contract reviews. This is a complimentary service. This complimentary service is among our most popular because a third-party contract review can make a substantial difference. You'll receive valuable feedback and insight from a paralegal on the suitability and effectiveness of liability. Can you give us some examples of contracts that you would review that would be covered?
Yes, thank you, Counselor. As I alluded to before, I actually came from the risk management department. I was a risk analyst prior to being a regional manager. So we see I guess the first thing I should say is our program's built different. I know Marsh, say you have special events, they require you to take a special event policy out typically. We would just ask what you're doing and then most likely cover it under your liability policy just because our liability policy is set up differently. It's a lot more encompassing. And then from there, we typically would supply risk management recommendations, little things such as, are you having some sort of street party of that nature? Now you're seeing intersections between private and third party in the municipality, emergency services, make sure that they have proper organization, all parties are responding, snow clearing, you name it. So we look at different contract reviews, recommending either insurance limits. So if you have a third party, say they're bringing in inflatables, which we highly recommend not to, but we can't stop you from doing that. Is it a reputable third-party company? Do they have 5 million certificate of insurance? These are risk management steps you can do to mitigate any sort of problems. Typically things we see in smaller municipalities, if it's an overnight event, we've had claims where people then just set up tents in the parking lot and there wasn't proper lighting and some got ran over. Things like that where municipalities anytime you have a special event, it changes the nature of your municipality. A lot of people like myself may not know the roads, may not know what speed to take, may not know where to go. And so we will give you almost too much information sometimes. And these are recommendations only. It is not that you have to do it and you won't have insurance, but we're just going to give you what the best practices are. And our risk management personnel are highly specialized at doing that because they see it every week. We're doing fireworks. What can we do to prevent this? And we'll give you everything you need from, is the volunteer properly trained? Waivers, volunteer waivers, certificate of insurance recommendations, all those things we'll give to you to kind of help you guys walk through that process until you get a well-oiled ship. Other things we do is a lot of smaller municipalities do not have proper SOPs, so special operating procedures for typical things that may happen every year in your municipality. So we will assist you. We have a standard template for an SOP, depending on what that is, or we can assist you with other municipalities. We help draft SOPs, and that typically would be with our paralegals and our risk analysts. Of course, we always say, please speak to your municipal solicitor at the end of the day, as they are the final word on any of those risk recommendations.
Thank you. Anything further?
I just wanted to add to that too, that how that process works would be, and I can attest to this as other municipalities, you have something coming up, even on short notice. A lot of times an email will come in, this is happening this weekend, what do you suggest? That goes to me, it passes on to Intact, and they provide like almost immediate response to anything along those lines. It's oftentimes same day. With a little bit of information, I can provide, my opinions, but coming directly from the insurance company, it's a little bit more supportive. And so they're aware of what is happening and ultimately can help mitigate potential losses, which, that's a lot of the questions I get revolve around activities happening in the municipality, events, who is covered, who's not covered. These are all things that you need to take into account when evaluating different activities or parks, playgrounds, et cetera. These are all liability concerns that, we can help kind of work through that with you.
Thank you. Ron, I believe you had your hand up.
Yeah, on that same page 25, could you comment on your sidewalk service? Like, what does that really mean?
Yeah, so part of our value added services, we have a full team of risk management personnel. So we do have for MMS standards, his name's Jaden Nelson. So he would be the one who would come out. So our risk management personnel come out because I force them to, and they will either do training webinars, they'll help with inspections. Typically, the first thing we say is, what are your MMS standards? What's the volume of traffic for those roads? Are you meeting those standards or are you not? And you have your own bylaw or approach to those roads. So they'll work with you. They know based on the size of the municipality, type of road. I'm not a road specialist. I can only speak so much to this, but we do have a road specialist that will assist with helping you get to those standards, as well as we have a fleet specialist as well.
And this is sidewalks, this area that I'm talking about. Is there something, do you do it says consulting service for frequency of falls on your sidewalks, or is that just us educate them on how to look at sidewalks, or what does that do?
So that would come typically from you guys. So I don't know who that would be the one in charge of your roads and sidewalks here, but they would then typically reach out through your broker and then coordinate with our risk management personnel and say, we may need a presentation, we may need a webinar, we may need training. We want to make sure we're hitting all standards, and we'll tailor our approach. So every year, if you renew with us, sorry, I should say that, we try to give a certain amount of risk management services, which are completely on top of all the online webinars, presentations that we do. I believe we're doing things on heat right now, soil erosion, you name it. So they would tailor that to your municipality based on the request of what you're asking for. So that probably would come from your facility manager, et cetera. I just did one down in Appanee with all their roads people, amount of salt, camera, latest software, AI is huge now for road surveillance. Is it in a state of repair, et cetera? So that's sort of the approach we would take. Well, once again, I'm not unfortunately the road specialist, so he would know what's best based on the discussion with whoever handles those here in the municipality.
Thank you. Eric, you had your hand up, I believe.
Yeah, just quickly, Ryan, you touched on earlier, I think you'd recognize that we have a lot of public facilities that private individuals can rent, our arena, community halls, different sports fields. Insurance has been a big barrier to usage of those facilities and our municipal requirement. Intact has a program to help deal with that, or can you speak to that?
Yes, that's a user facility policy, which I would say most of the ones I deal with do have this in place. It just creates a little bit more ease of doing business for the municipality. You ensure that they do have their actual coverage. You're not having to, confirm coverage from each rental. So this would be for like this facility, for example, any other, fields. There is certain exclusions under the policy. If it's an organized league, there's different rates that you would charge. But essentially you're collecting from anyone renting, and that premium should eventually equate out to what you're paying for the insurance policy. And roughly around $2,000. There's also liquor liability extension we can add on there as well for Jack and Jill's, weddings, things like that, where they're renting. And this would be any municipally owned buildings or facilities.
And is that policy, it would be separate from our municipal policy?
It's part of the
It's part
package,
of
but
it.
it just wasn't quoted. Just you didn't have it on now, so I didn't quote it.
Thank you. Mike, you had your hand up.
I like the idea of the special events and things that are going on in the municipality, that you have operating procedures. Do you have a website that has all the basic standard, operating procedures for events and that? I know some of them are going to be specific to the event, but is there anything there that we could just go look up that's on your website, or talk to somebody there that they could send out to us, that when someone comes to us with an event, we could say, yes, these are the things that we need to consider going forward, instead of doing a one-off every time something comes through?
Yeah, as far as the information, there is included in the package what their coverage is. If there is a specific event, then you can come to us with that, to go to Intact to see if it's covered under there, or we need a specific event policy. Again, mention the leagues. As far as the Intact website, I believe you can test that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so that would be called our Center of Excellence. But if you just Google IPE, typically right at the top there, it will say risk management. And that takes you to our risk management section where there's free resources, things like, volunteer waivers, best practices for third-party contractors, depending on the work being done. There's a lot of information on there, and we're constantly updating that and doing research. There's also typically case studies on legal decisions involving municipalities. So the Center of Excellence is a free resource. So we do highly recommend that. Many municipalities takes advantage of that. As for special events, it doesn't always have to be so difficult. Once we just get an email from Ryan, typically we'll send an email with bullet points, like these are like the 10 things you really should look at. And then there'll be additional resources, typically attachments, et cetera, if you want to really, really get in there. And with special events such as our, facility user group policy, which helps with outside third parties renting your services, it is a separate policy as well. So if there is a claim, that's on the facility user group policy. And that's one of the things why we really like it. It's not directly against the municipality. So it kind of helps give you guys that extra buffer. And that's why we do recommend, if you are trying to, get people in your community to use your facilities and buildings, why not just set that up? It's an inexpensive way to do it. We do have municipalities that don't always charge clients. Sometimes they just pay it themselves. It's really up to you guys how you want to run that, but there is a premium associated with it, obviously. So you'll have to make that decision if you're going to charge third-party personnel who want to use those buildings, or are you just trying to really get people into those halls that are collecting dust. It's completely up to you guys. Thanks.
Thank you. Jane?
Sorry, I just need to clarify on what we were just talking about. You mentioned that the policy was $2,000 for events. Is that included in your 206, or that's over and above?
Over. That'd be over, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I just needed to understand.
Thank you. Anything further? Nancy, did you have any other questions for this delegate that hasn't been covered?
No, I don't think so. They spoke to the legal. The only thing I thought of is with the sidewalk that Ron was talking about. I think he was wondering if someone comes out and inspects our sidewalks and says, this is a risk, you need to fix this sidewalk, there's a big bump in it, or I think he was wondering if that's a service you provide.
So typically with municipalities, you would have somebody who's looking at your roads and sidewalks, but if there is an urgent need, we could have our MMS standard specialist come out and assist with maybe walking through what best practices looks like. I don't know if I can get them out every year to look at your sidewalks. We have a lot of municipalities we look after, but definitely they would assist with getting best practices. They would be very happy to do so and assist with training, really, because at the end of the day, it helps us at time of claim. If you guys are on top of your standards, that's typically your best defense is documentation. And so, of course, we would happily invest in trying to get you guys up to a standard, which helps us then in the long run come claim time.
Something to add there to that as well. It's like the fleet management is something smaller municipalities have, can have a challenge with. Driver training, heavy vehicles. It's something we deal with a lot in insurance right now. And there's really good, source there to have someone come in and review those fleet management that ultimately is, could prevent claims in the future. And fleet management practices is very important in ensuring, safety and as well as keeping, accidents from happening. So it's another free resource.
Thank you. Anything further? Any further questions, Ron?
I need more clarification on this fleet management. What comes to mind is new drivers, for one thing. Winter time, like in the fall, you usually try to train your drivers again. Is that something you say you're offering?
Go ahead.
Yep. So, under our value-added services, we do have a fleet specialist. So they came from that industry first, insurance second. His name is Sud. He's great. He just did Lennox and Addington, Napanee. They're like, I think we did like over 150 people, over a span of 2 days, doing, driver training, what to look for on the roads, depending on, these were obviously their fleet with their large heavy vehicles, so you cater that to that audience. It really depends what you're looking for, in terms of what level. Is it just basic risk mitigation 101, proper logging, inspection of your vehicle before getting in, kind of that 101, or you want something more advanced? He also does full fleet reports, typically with whoever your fleet personnel is here, which will come with recommendations. They're quite long, and they'll work with that municipality over how many years to try to get them, to a place where they feel they're comfortable with. So he does a full fleet, inspection, recommendation report, looking at your policies, procedures, and kind of advises best practices. And that is a value-added service that we do. Thank you.
So by doing that, does that help the rates? As we go through the training, does that in turn help our rates?
So we can't offer discounts for doing risk management practices. Our licensing organization boards that govern insurance have been very clear on that. And I don't know if that would be the best way forward, but at renewal, when I speak with Ryan, as I said, it's our job to know your municipality in and out. So if you are following risk management recommendations and there's been a claim for your roads, and I go, well, look, they've done this course, they've been doing their best. That also is something we take into consideration, and we'll work with you. Losses happen, shock losses happen. That's part of insurance. Now, if there's a frequency issue, typically we'll recommend our personnel assist you as a way to help you. We'll say, well, something's going on over there. Maybe they need more support, and we'll do that. As I said, we definitely believe in a long-term partner solution first. And then we'll go from there, I guess is what I have to say. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, one last time, anyone have any further questions or comments? Okay, I just have a couple of things that, in listening to both delegations, for one thing, our procurement policy is being recommended to be waived because of the timing factor. And I think that's put us all under a bit of pressure because having had more time, I guess, to consider this, I'm not sure we'd come to a different outcome, but it would have given us a little more comfort level, I think. Going back to the different offerings that you have in terms of legal and risk management and all of that. I worked with Cowan's actually in my previous career. And at that time, to deal with all of these special offerings that both delegates had, you almost need an insurance and risk management staff person to actually take advantage of all of these things. And we don't have that. We've got a very small staff and we rely on our managers and our treasurer to, I guess, to take advantage of these things. But even if you take advantage of them, they've all got to be managed. And I know that there's significant time factor in doing that. I really think that looking at both of your presentations, I see there's a lot of similarities, a lot of maybe just some things are the same, but interpreted a little bit differently. I'd just like to say that in dealing with Whitley, with Matthew, they have a significant investment already made in the town in terms of the payouts, I guess you could say, for the last 10 years. I believe, Nancy, you said this reflects. Yeah. So they have a significant investment in the town. And I think we have to appreciate that. I think I added up just roughly here, $422,329 in terms of the totals that have been presented here. Am I right on that, Nancy? Is that close?
Are you referring to the 10-year loss?
I'm referring to, when you look at property, the status, and it says total claims 113,367. And then, at the top of the page, total claims 311,878, and then auto was 110,429. So when I totaled that, it come to 422. Is that about right?
Yes, that's about right. Yep.
So having said that, I think we have to appreciate that fact, that over the years, Matthews Company Whitley has had significant payouts to the municipality in terms of claims. I think that we have to take that into consideration. Go ahead.
Me? Okay. But
No, I was just making comments. Thank you.
Okay, I
Yeah.
just wondered if we were entering into the debate. I think there's, like, we don't have a motion on the floor.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, thank you. Anyway, those were just the notes that I made as we were going through the delegations. So, if no one has anything further, the recommendation is, and I would, yeah, that is the staff report. Right? I'm sorry. Yes, sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. Thank you. So we need to pass a recommendation. Does anybody want to make this recommendation? I'll read it. And Eric, did you have I saw your hand wavering there. We can.
I think you're muted, Eric.
Yeah, we have to put the motion on the floor first. You want to make the motion? Eric?
Sure, I'll make the motion and complete the last part of it, I guess. The recommendation, whereas there's not enough time to complete a full request for a proposal process as the current municipal insurance policy expires on July 30th, 2025. Whereas the quotes provided by Whitley Newman Insurance and McDougall Insurance both result in savings of approximately $90,000 for the 2020, probably should say 24-25 policy, that council waived procurement bylaw 2012-37, and further that council provide direction to staff to engage McDougall Insurance as a municipal insurance policy provider, to be enacted July 30th, 2025.
Can I get a seconder for that recommendation? Ron? Any further discussion? Oh, go ahead, Jane.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's, I'm confused. Are we only looking at McDougall according to that recommendation?
Well, you can debate now. Now it's on the floor with an idea. So the staff report is on the floor for debate.
So we're back to comments, Jane.
I think both presentations were good presentations. You gave us a lot to think about. I know that there is a strong history with Marsh Insurance as to the activity and the support in the town, but when it comes to what we're saving the ratepayers, what percent per year on taxes, I think that's a lot to think about too. That's what I want to add in my thought process.
Thank you. Mike?
I've just a couple comments. One, yes, they've been here for a long time. Two, according to Eric and his research, which has been extensive, I see, their rate is practically doubled, if not gone up 150% in the last 5 years. as far as our claims go, we've more than paid for our claims over the last years with the increase in their rates. So they didn't give us anything. And it took a competitive bid for them to go out and research this. So I'm back to Eric's comments earlier. Why? Like, you know, do we, if you have to do this? And the other thing is, if we sign with them for this rate guarantee going forward, are we committing for the next 4 or 5 years, or are we just committing for 1 year? Because I would like to see us come back and do this every year or every other year at the minimum, because $90,000 is a lot of money, a lot of money. That was on our $200,000 premium to go up $90,000. That's a 45% increase. Tack that on top of what Eric found already, so they've probably 250% in the last 5 years. So, you know, yeah, they're local. That's great. But an extra 250% in 5 years, that's a lot of money that we're paying out. So could we have saved it earlier? Maybe, maybe not. I know that the insurance industry is going through a big upheaval, especially with all the fires and floods and everything like that. But, you know, to come back and then guarantee us a rate going forward, as both of them said, the market is softening right at the moment. So maybe the guarantee is a guarantee. Maybe we're going to save money. Maybe we won't save hardly anything. And as he said, the guarantee does not discount the rate going up entirely. If the total rate across the world goes up, our rate's going to go up anyways. Now, he said they would hold it, but are they really going to do that? I don't know. So, yeah, I like McDougall's. I like Intact, though, because Intact came and, you know, they haven't dealt with us before. And they came through with a very good proposal. And both of them are excellent, but to take on McDougall because they've been here and and I'm not going to use the word gouged us, but they've really put it to us over the last 5 years. I found that before. Once you deal with somebody, lots of times your favorite company over the years tends to do these increases, and you don't go anywhere because you've dealt with them for so long. And then you find out, oh no, we've been paying like 20% more than we should have for the last 2 years. So, you know, I would like a little bit more discussion from John or somebody or Nancy as to what they think is the best before we vote on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Anyone else? Eric, go ahead. And then John, did you want to respond to the deputy mayor? Go ahead.
Sure, through the chair to Nancy, if I can just ask, has Whitley Newman or Marsh ever approached you promoting their additional services that they provide, or came forward and offered those?
Are you referring to like the legal and the risk management and all that?
Any additional service? Yeah.
Okay. I've had lots of talks with Ryan, just because, you know, he's trying to tell us everything that they have to offer. So I've learned a lot about the Intact and all of that services they offer. I'm pretty sure Marsh also offers those services that we weren't aware of.
Okay, so the question is specifically, has Whitley Newman or Marsh ever approached you promoting or offering any of those additional services that were already part of our policy with Marsh?
No, they haven't approached me about that. No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And
John?
then,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Eric.
sorry, just cost wise where we are. So our premium was 2024/25 in what we were paying for. Is that correct?
The renewal for this year is the 2025-26. I think there's a
Okay, but-
typo. in
Right,
that.
but as of right now, we were paying 294 was the total cost for the 2024/25 policy. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
correct. Yeah,
Okay, so we were paying 294.
Correct.
And this other proposal right now is, forget what's being offered for 25/26, 206.
correct.
Okay, thank you. John, did you want to respond to Mike?
Sure, through you, council, to the deputy mayor and to council. Again, in my time here, again, it's easy to come in at the end and sort of take a look at this. I think what can't be lost is for not only council, but also for the members of the community is that this is a significant savings and it's one that would have been welcome certainly years before, certainly welcome now. And I appreciate the presentations from the delegates in terms of being able to look at that. My comment, it would be great to have more time to look at this, but the reality is that we only have a short window to do that. That said, the updated prices are good. They're before council. You are comparing as best you can apples to apples. I think whatever we'd like to do, and one of the things I came into council when I started late last year was to look at all our procurement and our tendering processes. These are the kind of things that we want to do. And even though it's a short time frame from this is the type of exercise we need to do to go forward. So it really is, from council's perspective, is you have before you what the current promise is in the sense of a rate for 25-26. Apologize for the typo in the staff report for myself. But you really do have to look at what's the best value for the community. And then going forward, we would look at how do we revisit this process. I don't want to think that anyone had taken our business for granted. I absolutely support the local business in terms of local employment and citizens. But that said, council is speaking on behalf of those local citizens and those other businesses, because if it is a cost that is carried on, it's passed on in taxes. And this represents just slightly under 2% on the mill rate. So from my perspective, again, you have two bids in front of you. Council is well positioned to be able to compare them. Going forward, I think what we would do is looking at insurance, regardless of what those rates would be. We'd be looking at this plus any other services we have, bidding and tendering and also procurement, to make sure we get this same sort of value for money, to see what we can do and drive value for the community and for council. So I just wanted to provide the clarity to sort of answer what the deputy asked. But as best I can see, again, Nancy's done a lot of work. I applaud the fact that we're even having this discussion because of the work that Ryan and Intact has done to make this conversation happen quickly. But that said, I think council's best position to see what they think is best.
Thank you, John. Anything further? I would like to make an amendment to the recommendation, and the amendment being to add that that we use the procurement policy at the end of 1 year to get quotes for following years or following terms. So I think that whichever we decide to go with, I believe the recommendation is McDougall, but I would like to see us go back next year and follow our procurement policy to get competitive quotes. Can I get a seconder for that? Ron? Okay, all in favor? That's carried. So the amendment is the amendment. Oh, sorry, do you want to does anybody want to comment before we vote? Sorry, go ahead, Jane.
I'd like to amend that, being that the insurance industry is a I don't mean any disrespect, is a funny industry. If you're shopping too much, you get kind of tagged. I would like to amend it to 2 years.
I'm okay with that. I just think that we need to imply our procurement policy going forward. I think if we had been doing that, we wouldn't be sitting here today.
Yeah, ultimately, we should have been, this policy exists for a reason. We should have been following it. Yes, we can't be flip-flopping on an annual basis, but this was a failure to follow the policy, which led us in this situation, I hate to say.
But I think it's important when this term, whatever we approve today, when this term going forward for the next term, we need to use our procurement policy to get competitive quotes. So all in favor of the amendment again? Okay, thank you. Well, it was a friendly amendment, I think. Actually, the procurement policy, I think, states every year, does it not? No? So we could make it 2 years?
what I will do is, if that's not before council now, but I absolutely understand the spirit of which council is trying to put forward. The idea is that the procurement policy, it's 2012. There are things that need to be updated. I'm hearing from council what they'd like to be able to have there. In looking at all procurement and any revisions to that policy, we will look at the idea of this discussion being reflected in a procurement policy going forward. We will bring that back to council at another date, but notwithstanding the way procurement is here would not allow this discussion, which is why the recommendation to suspend it for this decision and then
Right.
revert back to what the existing policy is. But what I'm hearing loud and clear is, and also looking at practice of how that's been implemented, of revisiting that procurement policy, updating it and make sure it reflects what council looks for. And as that comes forward in the future, that would be something that we would look at what that time frame would be. But again, I think it's good for transparency, it's good for predictability. And again, as the councillor pointed out, we don't want to be seen as just sort of flip-flopping, going back and forth. There needs to be some certainty for any of the services we procure or any of the goods that we procure, with the idea there's certainty and transparency and predictability. And I feel that this is a good opportunity to be able to do that.
Thank you, John. So is everybody okay with that still? Just to be sure.
Kristen, can you please read the amendment?
And further, that council directs staff to use the procurement policy for the 26-27
Yeah.
renewal, 27-28. I'm having trouble getting the years straight. 2 years from now.
Yes.
I think that would be 27-28, sorry. And so if we voted on that amendment to the
Yes.
original
Yes,
motion,
we did.
then that carried.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so now we're back to the original recommendation to vote on it. Any further comments? Or do you want to read it again, Eric? You made the recommendation. No, everybody okay with it then?
Do you want me to read it with the amendment?
Sure.
Okay. Whereas there is not enough time to complete a full request for proposal process, as the current municipal insurance policy expires on July 30th, 2025. Whereas the quotes provided by Whitley Newman Insurance and McDougall Insurance both result in savings of approximately $90,000 for the 2025-2026 policy, that council waive procurement bylaw 2012-037. Further, that council provide direction to staff to engage McDougall Insurance for the 2025-2026 municipal insurance policy to be enacted by July 30th, 2025. And further, that council directs staff to use the procurement policy for the 2027-2028 renewal.
Thank you. Everybody okay? Do you understand that? You're okay with that? So any further comments? So I'll call it to a vote. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. I called the recommendation to a vote. Sorry, all in favor. Maybe I miscounted. I'm sorry, that failed then. I'm sorry. There was just, let me ask again for a show of hands. All in favor of the recommendation as presented? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. I thought I saw 3 hands, but I just wasn't sure. Sorry? Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you very much again for your delegations, folks. And like we said, going forward, there'll be an opportunity to bid on it when we go out for the next quotes. So thank you. So next on the agenda is the confirming bylaw. So being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the special regular meeting of council held on the 29th day of July, 2025. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Ron and Eric, all in favor? That's carried. Need a motion to adjourn, Ron? Second? Mike? Thanks, everybody. Tough meeting.